Alright, time to add clay. We're simply going to start from the bottom side of the pumpkin and apply clay to the bottom of it. You want to completely cover the bottom and go about a quarter of the way down the side of your bottom ball. Smooth it out if you like. You don't have to. I do, as you can see in the video here, but you don't have to smooth it out at this point. Once you got clay all the way around the bottom side of the pumpkin, you want to find the center point, and that center point is just going to be where you take and start all your grooves for your pumpkin. Once you find that center point, we're going to use a glue stick, and starting from the center point, we're going to make all the grooves for the pumpkin all the way around. Once that's done, you'll just turn it over and smash it down onto either a wax plate or a piece of plastic sheeting. Now next, the only thing we're really going to do here is very easy. We're just going to cover this entire ball with clay from top to bottom. So we're going to get it all covered up and then simply just smooth the clay out as nice as you possibly can. Once we have it all smoothed out, you're going to take that glue stick again and we're going to go back and find all those grooves that we started and finish them off from the bottom side all the way back up to the top. Go all the way around your pumpkin. Once you've done that, you can come back in and clean up that bottom edge because it smashes down a little bit. But really, what you want to focus on is rounding out these edges. So as you can see here, you can use a spoon, you can use your finger, it doesn't really matter. You're simply just going to start on the edge of the groove and just smooth it and round it over. That way it creates this nice, I like to call it a pumpkin shape. It creates this nice little pumpkin shape for your pumpkin. This process is fairly easy. It's a little time consuming, but you're just going to start just like this, working one section at a time. You'll round off one corner, one side, go to the other groove, round off the side that you're working on, smooth out your section of your pumpkin, and move to the next one. You're simply just going to do this same thing, a lot of rounding out and smoothing over and over again until you've gotten all the way around the pumpkin. One thing I forgot before, in the armature, add the stem. So as soon as we're done here, you'll see in the video, what I did is simply took some newspaper, wrapped up in a little bitty kind of ball, and taped it up and glued it to the top of the pumpkin to create our stem. So right here, bam, little dill, glued on, we got a stem. Now, moving on to the middle pumpkin, you're just going to do the exact same thing you did on the bottom pumpkin. We're going to cover the ball completely with clay, we're going to smooth it out, and then we're going to stamp the grooves into it. When you stamp these grooves in, stagger them. Like go to the middle or offset of the grooves on the bottom pumpkin to set the next ones. It just makes a better effect. So when you go to stamp these in, like here, I placed it basically between or close to the other grooves. You just don't want them right on top of each other, groove after groove. It makes for a better effect. Just like the bottom one, spoon, finger, whatever works best for you. You're just going to round out all the corners and smooth everything out, make it look more like a pumpkin. Then you're going to move on to the top section, the head. Simply again, cover the whole thing in clay. At this point I don't cover the stem, so I have something to hold on to. Cover the whole thing in clay, smooth it all out, and stamp grooves into it again. It's that simple. It's basically the same process for all three pumpkins. Slap on a bunch of clay, smooth it all out, stamp grooves into them, round out those corners, give it that nice shape, and move on. It's really pretty simple. What you want. Now once we get the top smooth out, we're going to move on to covering up the face. But don't forget, once we make the face, don't forget to clay that stem and carve in some little grooves into it so it looks like a piece of wood. Once you get that stem will be the last thing you do. And once you cover it in clay, then you can set it to dry. Now for the top pumpkin, I want to be quite a bit smoother. So what I did is I took a paintbrush dipped in paper mache paste and simply brushed over it and smoothed out and made a nice texture on the top side. This really kind of helps smooth it. As you can see there, that's a pretty smooth surface. It looks pretty good. Now, just like in the pumpkin tutorial that I put out on YouTube, we're going to use an X-Acto knife. We're going to lightly carve in the face we want, the nose we want, what mouth. However, just remember, you're only cutting the wet clay. We're not going to cut all the way through. So we're just going down until we hit the armature below, make our design, and then we're going to pull out the loose clay. And you're just going to repeat this step for the eyes, for the nose, for the mouth. It's very simple. Just choose your design, carve into it, pull out your excess clay, and your face is done. Once all these steps are done, we'll set our pumpkin aside to dry. Okay, our pumpkin's done. We're setting it off to dry, so the next step we want to do is make the hands and arms. You can do this with hanger, or you can do this with baling wire like I got here. The baling wire is just a little bit easier to work with than a piece of hanger, but either one will work. First step, just cut you off the section, 1 foot long, 2 foot long, doesn't really matter, just depends on how long you want your arms. After that, we're just going to wrap the wire with some newspaper to give it some girth. Once we got the newspaper on there, then we're going to come back with some masking tape and tape it down nice and tight. Once both of these are taped down, we're going to move on to making our fingers. For these little pumpkin guys, I only put 4 fingers on them. I don't put 5, so what we're going to do is cut off 8 little pieces, a couple inches long. I don't really remember, probably about 2 inches long, but we're going to cut 8 of them out so we have them for fingers. Once we have those 8 cut, the first thing you need to do, because you'll see here, glue doesn't want to stick to that wire, so you want to tape the bottom sides of each one of these little fingers and then glue them onto your wire. Once you get them all glued on and they're kind of stationary, you'll add a little more glue to all 4 of them and then wrap that up with tape for extra support. As you see here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 are glued on. Now a little extra glue, and then we're going to wrap that up with some tape just for some extra support. We're going to move on to the next hand, do the same thing. Once this is done, we got them taped on, then you can go and shape your hands, shape your fingers, ball them up however you want it. This is the time to give it the shape. If they seem a little long, you can trim them, whatever. This is the point to set your hands, because once this is done, you're going to completely paper mache with strip mache the hands from fingertips all the way down to the end of the wire. As you'll see in the next step, I've already got it done. What I forgot to show you in the next step, you're going to see an arm. It's all going to be already macheted up, but the arm's got a bend to it. And as you'll see, these are straight. Well, paper mache them straight, and once they dry, you can take a little cut and break them and bend it and get your shape, like what I have right here. Next, just kind of visual guess how long you want your arm sticking out of the pumpkin. That's why I stuck it behind it. It was getting an eyeball on how big I wanted them. I trimmed off any excess that I had, trimmed off the excess wire, mark a couple points in your pumpkin, simply drill a hole in it, and then the easiest thing we're going to do right here is put a little hot glue, stick the exposed wire in, get it stuck on, and then we will go back around the outside edges with hot glue. Finally, once that hot glue dries, you're just going to take some clay and simply start at the base and get a good little chunk at the base, because that's what's going to help give you stability on your pumpkin. Put that clay and wrap the arms and hands all the way up. Now when you clay this doesn't have to be completely covered in clay. As a matter of fact, if you leave some spots where there isn't clay and you can still see the paper, it makes for a creepier effect on him when he's done. Don't really like wood, like the bark's kind of peeled away or something like that. But once we've got this done, all I do is take a quick little tool and I just make these fast little bitty straight line gouges right into the clay, just randomly, from the base all the way up to the fingers. To me, I think it really makes a nice stick-like, wood-like grain into the clay. When it's all done, you've painted it up, it really, you can tell That's either a viney arm or a woody arm. It gives a great effect. So that's how I do it, and that's the way I prefer the way it looks. And as you can see here, it really does. It makes it look like it's a twig or a piece of wood, and it's very, very simple to do. So simple to do. If I can do this, guys, you all can do it. Simply add a little clay to it, then come back and scratch little scratch lines in it from top to bottom, and then you'll have a great little stick arm stuck to the side of him. We're going to repeat this process on the other arm, do the exact same way we've done this one, and we're done. Sculpting's over. Once you have the other arm done, you'll set this back to dry and your sculpting will be finished. Okay, sculpting's done, and he's set and dried. Thank goodness for slow motion here. But you can see when you do these highly detailed mouths, they got more teeth to them, things like that, it's really hard to get in there and scrape it clean. So get it as clean as you can, but you'll see you've got some residue left over. Not a problem. We're going to take care of that with a Dremel tool. The piece I have here, I'm not really sure what it is. The end of it's completely flat, but then the sides have got some teeth on it, so you don't really dig down. It's real nice. Put it on your Dremel tool, go in and lightly just come back in here and clean up any of the garbage that's left on the inside. That flat tip's really nice because it helps from digging in through your armature, because you don't want to do that. You want to keep that armature in there because you're going to be painting on that, but it works really well. You can get in those small little creases and you can get all of that leftover residue cleaned out. So last step before paint, come back in, clean up the mouth, clean up the eyes or the nose if you have any extra residue left over. Way it's nice and smooth. There we go, finished and done. Ready for paint.
What you want?